Are live, and I'm here. Well, I'm here with two women today. I'm here with the beautiful, incredible Yvette.
Good morning. How are
Happy
you?
Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving?
Fabulous.
Good, good, good. Jillian, we're here with Jillian Ladano. I mean, we're lucky to be blessed with her presence today.
Yes.
She is an expert in intuition, and we've just recently been talking about intuition.
Absolutely. And actually, when we started to tap into that last weekend, I had the intuition. Like I said to you, why don't we invite Jillian?
And what did we do with that once we had that intuition
And we
come
took
up?
action. We took action right away.
We reached out to Jillian, and Jillian said, yeah, absolutely. So welcome, Jillian. How are you? How was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was awesome. It was really, really great. It was a little different than normal, but it was still really nice. It was just my husband and my kids and myself. We usually go to Connecticut, but because of situations, we were here. But it was really nice. We put up our Christmas tree. The cats took down half the ornaments, but it was really nice.
That's their job to do that. Yeah. So let's jump in and really get into this. So Jillian, tell us, I mean, we kind of have our own definition of intuition, but what does it mean to you exactly?
That's a good question. Intuition to me is that inner voice. You know, a lot of people refer to it as the gut feeling. That's the easiest way to explain it, because there's a lot of people that look at intuition like it's this weird psychic ability. It's not. It's just one of our senses, you know, and we're all very in tune. Well, most of us are very in tune with our senses, you know, sight, smell, touch, hearing, those types of things. But we also have the sense of intuition. So did you ever have a day where, you know, you have that feeling and you don't go with it and you say, oh man, I'm so mad at myself. I knew that. That's the easiest way to describe intuition. It's your inner guidance system. It's your knowing. And, you know, some people look at it from a spiritual point of view. Some people look at it from a scientific point of view. You could look at it any way you want. We all have it. And the only difference is some people's are a little more heightened. And it goes the same with other senses. You know, if you were blind, your other senses would be heightened to compensate for the fact that you can't see, right? So we all have the ability to heighten our senses in some way or another. So to really hone in on your intuition, you have to start learning how to heighten your senses. And that one just starts coming naturally, and you'll start experiencing it more, and you could really play with it and have a lot of fun with it. And it feels really good.
Let me just ask first, and then you ask the next one. So a lot of people, they hear these voices in their head, and some are kind of judgmental and telling us, you know, we shouldn't do this or don't do that, or what if you do this? And then we also have that voice that's like kind of soft, powerful, and is positive. How do we differentiate between those, and what are they trying to tell us?
So interesting that you say that, because intuition is not your mind. Intuition's your heart. So what you just said to me sounds a lot like emotion and things based on past experiences, whereas intuition is none of that. It is the gut feeling. It is the feeling you feel in your soul that, you know, for instance, a really quick thing that I could tell you guys is when I met my husband, I didn't know him from Adam. And I had put it out into the universe that I was in a bad relationship. When I got out of it, I said, if I'm ever going to date again or find love again, whatever, he's got to be XYZ. And I just, you know, put it out there as an intention. A week later, I go in to get lunch on my way to work. I was late. It wasn't my normal time that should have been there. And I walk in and it's a huge line. And I'm like, oh, I should just leave. But something told me not to. And I walk in and there was this guy in the front of the line paying. And we had a moment. It was a movie moment where we both caught eyes. I'm like, ooh, he's really cute. But it wasn't just, it was a cute guy. So anyway, he leaves. And I actually, when he left, I kind of felt like sad, almost like, oh, that was too bad. Well, when I get out in the parking lot, he was still there. And I'm like, I knew he had the same, I wasn't the only one. So anyway, very long story short, he sure enough walked over to me. Now, I have never in my life randomly met a person ever. Like, I was always very skeptical, you know, and he comes over and we talk. And again, long story short, he said, would you ever want to go out sometime? And I instantly blurted out yes, before my mind could say, well, this guy could be a serial killer. This guy could be, none of that mattered. I knew And 21 years later, here we are. And it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to any part of my mind. I had just gotten out of a very long relationship, not even a full week before this. Nothing made sense. I didn't even know how old he was. He actually looked pretty young. And I thought later, oh God, I hope this guy's not in high school. Like, he looks really young. So, but my point is, none of my, like you said, none of the voices, because if I went to that point, I would have never, ever said yes. And my whole life would have been different. I went with my initial feeling from my heart and my stomach.
Wow.
Sorry for the long-winded explanation, but I thought that would be a really good example of how what you said with the voices, that's your brain and that's your rational mind. And those are your past experiences coming through from your analytical side, trying to help you survive, right? Your intuition is just the whatever comes out first, that is intuition.
Yeah. First of all, for anyone that's watching, if you have any questions at all, put them in the comments and we will then ask Jillian for a response. And we have Kat here on the other side of the camera who's helping us with the questions today. So that said, do we have anything yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, no problem. All right. So let's talk about that voice for a second. So someone starting out kind of brand new, we've all had that gut feeling, but we haven't really practiced this. How can we take baby steps to really start our practice in intuition?
Well, like I said earlier about your senses, the easiest way to start practicing intuition is, for one, don't think about it. Think about your other senses. So when you sit down to eat, yesterday is a good example, a day of giving thanks and the day of eating. That's a different type of dinner because you, like Yvette said, we cooked all day and night for this dinner. Typical dinner, you sit down and inhale your food and you're out the door. None of your senses are coming into play. But a day like yesterday, you sit down, the whole house, you smell it. You're really, you're smelling it, you're tasting it, you're really in it. You know what I mean? So if you could start honing in on your senses in the sense where the next time you eat, don't eat standing up, sit down, look at your food, see it. What is it? What color is it? What does it look like? When you pick it up, when you put it in your mouth, what does it feel like in your mouth? What does the texture feel like? What does it taste like? Chew it, actually feel the sensation. Do you know what I mean? So if you start doing baby steps, such as heightening your other senses, I'm a culprit of when I'm out and about, a car could drive by me. I didn't even see it. My husband will say, "Did you see that?" "No, I never saw it." "What do you mean you didn't see it?" "Oh, I wasn't paying attention." If we start paying attention to the things around us, like, for instance, the next time you walk into the room in your house, we think we know everything. But if I told you, tell me every single thing that's in the other room, you might be like, I don't know, actually. I think there was a picture on the wall, because we don't pay attention to it. So there's your baby steps. Really start paying attention to all your senses. And then this one just organically develops as well.
Jillian, how is it that Yvette can remember exactly what I was wearing on our first date and I have no clue? That's exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Paying attention. Yeah.
So now when did you really start to tap into that? How old were you?
It's funny because I was very, very young. My mother and I were very connected. My husband, when he came into the picture, I was like 21, I think. He used to say, "You guys are really weird," because I would think something, say I don't know, something random, like I need, I don't know, deodorant. She'd come home and say, "Oh, I stopped at CVS and I got you a deodorant." He'd be like, "Whoa," like there was so many times where I would say something and she would pick it up without ever communicating. And I started realizing, like, there's something to all of this, you know what I mean? And there's something more than just what we all know. So I started being more in tune with the weird things that would happen, or, the little things that I knew, and then they would happen. And I'm like, So I just started honing in on it. And then you kind of forget about it a little bit as life goes on, because you get busy and you start not paying attention and you start, humaning. And then as I got older, I kind of tapped back into it again. And I started doing little tests. And this goes back to what you said, Mike, too, another way that you could do baby steps. For instance, I went into the line of the bank at TD Bank, and there's like 4 or 5 rows of, cars because we can't go in. And just to do little tests, I'll say, okay, which one of these lines is going to be the next car that goes? And I picked lane 3. Even though I got in lane 2, I picked lane 3. It was lane 3. Like, why didn't I go in lane 3? I knew that was the one that was going to be it, Or, you're driving sometimes. You could do little tests this way where you're driving and you'll say to yourself, which way should I go? don't go with, well, this way is a little longer. No, just pick the way, Yeah. And the other day I did that, but I didn't go the way that I picked. And I went the wrong way. And sure enough, the whole road was blocked off with police cars. And I said, oh my God, I knew it. So to answer your question, Yvette, when I was younger, it started, but I felt like there was a stigma around all of this because it felt very, I don't know, different. And no kid likes feeling different. So I kind of put it away. And then as I got older, probably in my late 20s again, I started really picking up on it. And now it's just such a normal part of my life. And I don't really care if people think it's weird anymore because more people are becoming aware.
So you said something very interesting. You were in tune with your mom.
Yeah.
And I've done a little bit of research, and maybe you could speak a little bit to this, but our thoughts are actually energy. They can actually measure the thoughts leaving and going back and forth. There's actual photography that measures that. If that's the case, and if these thoughts are kind of out there somewhere, can we pick those up? It seems like we can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have our energetic field around us extends out about 3 feet, say. That's typical. There's people that are, Buddhists and yogis and all these, that theirs might extend out a little further, but we are all energy, the quantum field's kind of what you're talking about. So telepathy, that's another thing, which no one really talks about because it sounds weird, like, oh, telepathy. But if you think about it, we've all had the experience where you think of someone and then they call you.
Yeah.
I don't believe in coincidences because that's just too easy of an explanation. So yes, when you send out messages, people can receive them because everything is energy. Everything's energy in motion, just all vibrating at different frequencies. And for the skeptics out there, like you had said, there's scientific proof to back all of this now. Thank God, finally, because people like me through the years talking about this, I used to get the looks, and it would make me feel like, oh God, I'm really weird, I guess. So I probably shouldn't talk about this. But now all the researchers out there are proving that this stuff is really real.
Yeah, and isn't it funny that we get those looks but what's really going on is the belief system inside of that person jumps in. It's like, no, that can't be, this is all a sham, right? And that's stuff that we heard when we were just little and we picked up from other people and we accepted that belief as the truth. But this is real.
Well, I have that with Kat, right, Kat? Like sometimes I'll be thinking about it, like I got to call her about this, and Kat will then call me. I was like, I was just about. She goes, I know, I felt it, Mom. We definitely, she and I definitely have that.
Yeah,
Because I was driving. It's actually funny because the night before, Wednesday night, I was so tired from cooking, and I had promised a certain dessert, but I was too tired. We were actually in the car going to the store, and she called. Like, oh, are you calling to check on your cookies? And she goes, that's all I want. I'm like, I'm in the car. Yeah. So yeah, I absolutely believe in that because we definitely have that connection. And we have that because we had an incident where I was outside the front door having a conversation about a specific topic. Yeah. I come in and he was just having the conversation about that topic. And it's just like, what? Which
gave us the answer to that question. And then Yvette jumped on it and acted on it. It was powerful. When that stuff happens, it is pretty powerful. But that's normal, right? When we start to get in touch with our intuition, these kind of things happen.
Yeah, once you open the floodgates, you just more and more and more. And then that's why I said before, you could start playing with it, meaning you use it in your day-to-day life. And the cool thing is in business, once you start trusting, some of the biggest business moguls out there, if you read their stories, they all talk about intuition and, trusting. It's that trust that you know, even when you don't know that you just know. And once you could start living in that space, your whole life starts to shift because, a lot of times we're always worried about what other people think. Like, should I wear this shirt today? I don't know. What do you think about that? Can it all? How does it feel to you? What was your first gut reaction? That's what you should go with. And once you start living in that space, you start feeling more connected and more at ease. And just trust is a very powerful emotion to feel, and it changes everything.
It's funny that you say that, because sometimes it almost feels like we need some credibility behind this to start believing it. But like you said, we just watched not too long ago, it was a a video by Evan Carmichael, who does all these great videos. He basically pulls segments from famous people and puts it all together so that you can watch it. But he did one on intuition, and you heard Oprah Winfrey, Jim Carrey, the woman from Spanx, all these different people. They were being interviewed, and they all said the same thing. I trusted my gut. You know, I went with my gut feeling, and they were saying, trust your gut. So they're, you know, these are people that made it by listening to the voice within.
And the funny thing too, is we don't ever question our other senses. If you smell smoke, right, you know that there's fire. You're not going to say, I don't know about that. I'm not sure. Do you know what I mean? Or if you see something, you're not going to say, did you see that? You saw it, you know, you trust those. And the funny thing is our sight perception is very different. Yvette might see purple and you might see blue. Neither of you are wrong. It's, you know, color is just a way a light reflects on something, and we all perceive it differently. Yet we take that as the golden rule, when really, you know, my daughter and I had an argument, not an argument, but a thing the other day about a dress that she said was red, and it was clearly burnt orange. And so we had to go around the whole house. What color is this dress? And she's like, I can't believe you see orange. That dress is red. And it's like, but again, we don't often question our other senses, but intuition, the strongest of all of the senses, the one that's connected to your soul, we question it, and we don't really, you know, it's very strange to me, but I love that people are starting to have this awakening, and not to make light of what's going on in our world right now, because it's a horrible thing. However, so many people I've talked to have had the gift of time, which has birthed all of this awareness. And it's interesting. Some people are really taking advantage of this time that we've had, and other people are not. But a lot of people are. A lot of people are waking up to possibilities of things that they never really thought about, this being one of them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I had a moment the other day. Remember the other day I was saying, well, I want to do this video. And you know what? Before I left to work, I said to Mike, okay, he had like 5 minutes. And I said, no, I want to do it now.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it because it was just like that gut was telling me, don't wait for later. Just do it now.
Yeah.
And you did.
But before I would have just said,
Yeah, and it was amazing. And then she got all these views on it, which was, and the thing is, this is the beauty of it. She didn't prepare. She knew what she was going to talk about, like the overall topic, but then she just went with her intuition and let whatever happen and flow. And it worked really well.
I think now just really tapping into it and just like, okay, so this is my passion. I love food. I love it. So I'm just listening to it more, and like it's saying, listen, just go and do this. Go and do this. Don't write it out. Just let it flow.
Yeah.
So really
Your analytical mind sometimes can squash your intuition. And that's what we do, you know, even like this, when I was talking about this with you, Mike, is there any specific topics? You said, no, we're just going to talk. And I said, perfect, because that's what I intended to do. This is a talk on intuition. I'm going with my intuition, and whatever we talk about, whatever I feel called to share, I didn't prepare. I mean, not to sound not prepared, but I didn't prepare anything for this, you know, where I just thought, this topic, if I'm going to talk on this topic, which I know and love so much, I don't need to prepare anything. I'm going to go with my intuition. Whatever I feel called to say is what's meant to be said, and that's it. And it feels really good. It's so, you know, carefree, and just, it feels good. And that's the biggest thing that we as humans don't realize. Feeling good is the most important thing. If you don't feel good, nothing in your life works in any way, right? That's why stress and anxiety and all these things are such big topics, because we don't focus on the way we feel. You know, we burn ourselves out. We do things that we don't want to be doing. We go places we don't want to be going. If everybody can kind of come back to the way they feel, their intuition will heighten. You'll be happier, more productive. Your stress levels will go down. And it's not selfish. You know, you hear the buzzword self-care lately and all this stuff. Everyone keeps talking about self-care, and it's so important to really focus on you, and all of these things start to come up once you're in that space of feeling good.
I love it. I just want to go back to something else that you said, which was, and I think it's a great message for everyone to hear, including all of us, right? Which is, we don't question certain things. Like when the voice comes up and says, man, you're so bad at this, or you really look bad today, we don't question that. We accept it as the truth. Yet when our intuition speaks and says, hey, this is the path to take, we'll question that. Isn't that interesting how we do that?
Yeah. And it goes back to what you said. It's what we were programmed to believe from childhood. You know, if you see something, that is fact, because we were taught that. If you hear something, but no one ever talked about that. When I was younger, you know, I used to say, I know things sometimes before they happen. And people, you know, older people in my family would kind of look at me like, oh God, you know, slow it down with that. Like I was a witch or something. But it wasn't that. It was just all of your clairs, your clairvoyance, your clairsentience. We all have these things, you know, but through the years, I was raised Catholic, which I don't really identify with any specific religion now. I'm just all encompassing spiritual. But being Catholic in the Italian Catholic town I lived in, God forbid you ever said, I want to go to a psychic, or I want to go to a medium, or I know things before they happen, or that I felt this. People looked at you like they needed to throw holy water at you. So it was always perceived wrong, which is why I think for me, I didn't trust my intuition as much, because I was led to believe, not by my mom or my close family, but just, you know, people around me. I was led to believe that you could trust what you see and what you know, but you can't trust what you actually know. So that's why I veered away. And I think everybody's kind of in that boat a little bit.
Yeah, I love that. So let's just touch on this real quick. If people want to get in touch with you and want to work with you, tell us what that looks like, and then how do they actually do that?
So there's a couple ways. I do have an online community, Breathe and Balance. It's you could access it through breatheandbalance.live. It's a Facebook online community that I've created with this as the basis of all of my energy healing modalities. I'm certified in integrated energy therapy, which is similar to Reiki, but it works on a different energetic level. Reiki is more the physical energy of our world and things of that, whereas integrated energy therapy is more of like the angelic, you know, realm. So it gets a little deeper. So Breathe and Balance, that's one great place you could connect with me. I have a YouTube channel, JillianLodano.tv. A lot of my EFT tappings are in there. That is really, really healing. And my meditation videos. You could also just reach out to me through email. We could put all those in the
We'll put
later. But yeah, I'm developing now as we speak my my intuitive coaching practice, which is really exciting. And there's websites being in the works and all of this stuff. So there's lots of ways that you guys can connect with me, and more coming. And I also do a talk show every Thursday night, although I skipped yesterday for Thanksgiving, and I'm actually skipping this Thursday coming up. It's my birthday. And for my birthday, I decided instead of I want to give. And I bought a bunch of stuff for blankets and things. We're going down into Philly and passing them out to homeless people that day. So I'm not going to be around that day either. But typically every Thursday night at 8:00 on my Facebook page, I do a talk show. So there's lots of ways you can plug in, but if you want to talk one-on-one, just reach out to me. You can do it through Messenger, you can do it through email. And yeah, I really, this whole journey has been really exciting, and I love sharing this information. I love helping people heal through different healing modalities, and I love sharing what has helped me through my journey. And I really love teaching about intuition, hence why I want to start my intuitive coaching practice, because coaching helps people set goals. We all know that, you know, and it really helps people move forward in their life. But there's another layer that I want to bring to mind, where you're going to bring in the spirituality and the intuition side of it to really trust yourself, believe in yourself, and then you kind of marry it with the traditional coaching practices, and it creates a really holistic kind of approach to moving forward.
Love that. Yeah, love it. So again, we're going to have all the links posted below. And if it's a month from now and you remember Jillian, but you can't find the post, reach out to us and we'll get you in touch with Jillian. So do you have any other questions? Kat, did you have? No, we're good. Okay. Any other questions?
I'm good.
You're good.
I'm so happy that you joined us this morning. I know, waking up early after Thanksgiving, after the feast.
This was great. And I'm honored that you had me on, and I love talking about this topic. So this was a lot of fun. Great way to start my day.
Yeah. So let's end it on this note. What's one piece of advice that you can give to everyone out there today?
Start trusting yourself. Stop looking outside of yourself. Wayne Dyer told a story a while ago about if you lose your keys in your house, but it's dark in your house, but outside there's streetlights on. and you go outside to find the keys, and your neighbor comes and helps you and says, oh, I'll help you find your keys. Where'd you leave them? Oh, they're in the house. Well, why are we looking outside? Well, because there's light out here, but it doesn't make sense. And it always struck me, that story was funny to me, because that's what we do as humans. We have a problem inside of us, yet we go outside to find the answer. The answer is not outside. Just like the keys are not outside, the keys are inside. So don't go outside to look for them. They're not there. So my biggest piece of advice is start believing in yourself a little more, that you have the answers. Everything you need is inside of you. You might need other people to help draw it out of you, which is perfectly okay. However, nobody's going to be able to change you or, you know, any of that. You have that inside of you. And once you could start trusting, that's when you start seeing the big changes. And that little voice that you hear, don't push it away. Just think of it as one of your senses. If you smelled fire, you wouldn't plug your nose and turn it off. You wouldn't, you know, turn a blind eye at it. So don't do that with your intuition, because it's such a powerful sense and it's going to change your life.
Well,
Wow.
that's great. I love it. Thank you, Jillian. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad we did the discussion, and I'm so glad we did it from just trusting in how it would naturally unfold, our intuition.
Perfect. I love it.
Thanks for being here. We're going to put all the links will be below. Make sure to reach out to Jillian. She's great. And if you resonate with this, she can really help you a lot. That's it, everyone. Have a wonderful Friday. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Thanks, Jillian.
Thanks, Jillian.
Thank you. See you later, guys.